So good afternoon and welcome to another hashtag Ask the Committee campaign where members of our executive committee in Sutton Coldfield and members across our group offer advice on finance, PR, customer experience, business planning and really any other areas that we feel and our members tell us they want to hear some advice on. My name's Chris Brewerton. I head up the Chamber division in Sutton Coldfield. I'm joined by Clare Whalley. Clare, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good to see you. Clare Whalley is our Vice President of Sutton Chamber and MD of Metaphor Business Coaching. Clare's been a real pro coach and supporter for many a small business in Sutton, but also across Greater Birmingham over many years. I won't say how many, but it's growing by the day, Clare. But it's great to have you here, and really, Clare is here to give and discuss some three sort of key points of advice for businesses when looking at business planning. We've had finance, we've had PR, we've had customer experience. Today's all around business planning. So Clare, we've got 3 points to cover. The first you wanted to mention was how important it is to plan and set business goals. So just give us a bit of an insight on that area as we go along.
Okay, so it sounds really obvious to talk about business planning and setting goals as a business owner, but you'd be surprised about how many people don't do it. Only 3% do planning, and those who do the business planning and they're setting the goals are 5 to 10% more likely to achieve. So yes, it's massively important to plan for what you're looking to achieve, because how do you know when the right opportunities come up, if they're right, or when you go to a networking event, who you want to connect with, or what products and services you want to sell, or how you want to innovate. And they also keep you motivated as well. If you're focused on a particular thing you want to achieve, then it keeps you on track in your business rather than just getting embroiled on the day-to-day. So yes, they are massively important. It's massively important to plan, to set goals and to work out what you want to achieve in your business. Absolutely.
And you mentioned sort of taking a step back and looking at where the business is. That's obviously a key area. And as you say, setting the goals, obviously aiming to get them. But if you don't reach them, looking at how you've gone about that and setting some more, I suppose, is just as important.
Always, yeah.
Absolutely. And I suppose going on to the second point you mentioned about, where do you start? How do you do that? You obviously work with small and large businesses along the way. How do you go about setting those, and what would your advice be to businesses watching today to understand about where they need to start and how to set those goals?
This is where I believe lots of business owners, it's the reason they don't set goals, because, well, one, through fear of, I'm not going to achieve them, so let's not set them. And then the second thing is, well, I don't know where to start. How do I know what I want to set out to achieve? So my advice is always just start by brain dumping. We can't solve problems just by keeping them in our head. It's really important to get them out of your head and onto some paper, whether you're an old-fashioned gal like me and like, actual pen and paper, or whether it's a mind mapping app that you use, but just start blurting out all the ideas like you'd blurt out to a friend. So don't make any sense of it, just get it all out of your head. And you will start to see soon a pattern emerging of just about the things that you want to do, whether it's to grow a team or to innovate on new products or to connect with different businesses, whatever it looks like. So once you've got that overall year goal, and I always say it's best to start with a year. Yes, you can do 3 to 5 years, but it's better working in the closer to the here and now. It feels more real, it feels a bit more tangible, and it feels more doable. So start out with that yearly goal, and then you can start pulling out, okay, well, what looks like Q1, Q2, 3 and 4. And then once you've got them broken down, then you can go a bit more into the monthlies, daily goals. What do I need to do in order to make this happen in Q1, in order for, to get my year end goals, that big 12-month goal?
And sometimes these could be financial, these could be sales based, but these could also be, aspirational, more sort of less specifically measurable ones, perhaps. Or where do you go around that measurement and that sort of deciding of what that looks like?
Great question. The financial goals, I always feel if you get everything else in place, the financial goals take care of themselves. So pulling out a figure of, a 25% growth or 10% growth, whatever that looks like to you, then start, right, well, if it's 10% growth, what do I need to sell or what do I need to innovate in order to get that 10% growth? So you can start with those financial goals or start with, I want to get 3 new team members. Well, what do I want those team members to do? What processes, systems do I need to put in place in order to get the team members? So pull out the bigger goals and then work out, kind of backtrack it, reverse engineer it. What do I need to do in order to get that bigger goal?
And the last and most important one, I suppose, is how to go about actually achieving them. I suppose you've got to probably say in your thunder, but you've got to do what you say you do and do it for a year. I think that's the key, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning, this is why lots of people, professionals, business owners, don't set goals for the fear of, I'm not going to achieve them, so I won't set them in the first place. So there are loads of different strategies to help you achieve your goals more easily. And I always advise to set them in different ways. So, if mind mapping is your thing, if you're quite creative, do it that way. And I also like to pull out in written goals. I do a vision board as well. So I do it in lots of very different creative ways to suit my nature. And I also make sure I have like-minded people around me, people who are going to keep me accountable and going to remind me why I set those goals in the first place. So having a really good team, having people who you trust, who aren't going to laugh at you or say, oh, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? It's having the supportive people who know what it's like to run a business, who know the challenges that come into play, and having those people around so you can share them with.
Yeah, the support network is so important, isn't it? And that's whether you're a one person band or a 5-person band or a 5 million person band, that everyone needs that support network around them of like-minded.
Massively. I mean, obviously, we're talking, from a chamber perspective as well. There are so many people in the chamber who you can connect with who are like-minded. So it's a really great place to start, to find those people. Right, will you keep me accountable to these goals?
Absolutely.
And the biggest thing for me is keeping a positive mindset and good mental well-being when you're setting goals, because it's really easy to get distracted or to get put off or to get taken off track. So it's finding what helps you keep inspired and motivated, whether it's running, meditation, meeting with people for coffees, that kind of thing, that keeps you, just focused and on your A game.
Great stuff. That sounds great, Claire. It's an absolute pleasure as always. It's been a great experience to hear you some of those key messages, and I know there's a lot of businesses locally who've benefited from that clear direction and clear planning, and it's great to have you with us and give that advice to some of the businesses following this interview. So, Claire, absolute pleasure. Thanks so much. I think I'll probably take some on board this afternoon. So, thank you, Claire. Pleasure as always.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris.